Whenever you animate a character, you need to keep in mind a number of basic principles of animation. These are pretty much the fundamental laws of animation, so to speak. They're almost like laws of motion. These include such things as arcs. Most characters move along arcs rather than straight lines. Anticipation. Things move left before they move right, for example. Drag. Most actions start at the center of the body and then move outward. When posing characters, you need to take into consideration such things as balance, line of action, silhouetting, and so on. We're going to cover most of these in the next few lessons. First of all, let's start off with arcs. I'm going to open a file here, and you can follow along with me. From the desktop, exercise files basics, we have one called arcs 00. And this is just really a basic character moving his arms outward. Now each arm moves a little bit differently. Now if you notice the arm, the green one, or the one on our right, his left, moves a lot more naturally. Why is that? Well, that's because it's moving along an arc. Most motions are arcs because if you think about it, what is a motion in a character? It's really a series of rotations. Rotations are arcs. So when you rotate the arm, then the arm actually naturally creates an arc. In fact, one of the things I do when I animate a character is I'm always using, there's a feature here under the motion panel, and it's called trajectories, and it really just shows you kind of a plot as to where things are going. So I, for example, select the palm of the hand, and I can see that that palm is following a very nice arc as it moves. Now this palm here isn't moving as nicely. See, it kind of follows a straight line and then it arcs up. So it's not really as natural a motion as this one. Now when you animate, a lot of times you'll say, well, this motion doesn't quite look right. You always want to check the arcs of the extremities of the body, like the hands, the top of the head, the feet, and so on and so forth. Those will give you a good idea as to how smooth the motion is. You need to make sure that they're moving along an arc and also moving fairly regularly along the arc. As a matter of fact, if you look at this, you can even see the slow in and slow out of this, which makes it for a very nice motion. It's really just a very simple motion. Now, one area where you really need to watch arcs is when you're using forward kinematics. I'm going to open another file called arcs 01. Okay, here we have a file which has arms rigged two different ways. Now, the first arm is rigged with forward kinematics, actually this left arm here. The right arm is rigged using inverse kinematics. Now let's go ahead and make the same motion on both arms, and I'll show you a fundamental difference as to how each works in respect to arcs. So I'm going to turn on auto key, and at frame 0, I'm going to go ahead and rotate this arm down. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and delete this point and just manipulate the IK handle directly. So I'm going to go ahead and move this down. And okay, I have a little bit of a problem here, but I can go ahead and use select and manipulate and then just rotate that around. Okay, so we've got his arm at the side on both ones. Then let's just go to move to frame 20. And I'm going to go ahead and move his arm straight out. And again, I need to perfect this manipulator here. There we go. And then with this one here, I'm just going to go ahead and rotate the bicep at frame 20 so that his arm pretty much takes the same pose. Now notice how the fundamental difference of these is that because with forward kinematics, it's following this IK handle. The handle itself is what's in betweening. Now if we go over to our motion panel and touch trajectories, you'll notice that this is just it's a straight line in between. Now, why is that? Well, it's just moving from shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. But this one moves along an arc. That's because instead of moving it, it's actually rotating, and rotation naturally produces arcs. So why is this important? Well, there are many times when you're going to be using IK to manipulate arms, and more importantly, legs. You have to make sure that when you do use IK, that you introduce arcs into the animation. So even just doing that will give it a much more natural motion. Now, more importantly is the feet. Let's say, for example, we were going to have this character kick a ball. I need to turn off my manipulators here. So I'm going to select the foot. And let's say at frame 26, he's going to go ahead and kick a ball. Well, again, that's not a real kick. A kick is more of an arc. So again, you need to make sure that you give your IK solutions arcs. That's a much better kick when working. Now, that's just something that you have to naturally do as you work through any animation, is make sure that the character is moving smoothly along arcs, and most of the extremities are. We're going to move on to another fundamental principle in the next little lesson.